All right, Coach is thinking this is going to be a long one, so buckle up. So, first, Coach is saying the Seattle Supersonics are going to come back, with the Thunder winning the championship and now the Seahawks winning. Just seems like that's the move, and they got the Kraken out of the deal. So, you go without the Supersonics for a while. You get a hockey team and your team back. That seems like a fair trade off to Coach. I would do that deal. And then, we've got the Browns. They've got their new stadium. They're the only team that ever got their team back, right? It's nice that the Thunder didn't use the Supersonics branding, so they can just take it right back. So seems like what they're doing there. We've got the Sixers winning right after the Thunder. We've got Chocolate Thunder, the Sonics. That's the Rain Man. It just seems right. Now with Dawson's Creek, James Vanderbeek dying, it makes me think of Angus Scott. He doesn't have a middle name or a birthday, so I don't have a lot to go on. But he did go to Clifton College, which Clifton's been coming up a lot. I'm not quite sure what's going on there, but that one's definitely high on Coach's list. So we're looking into Angus Scott. He has a brother, Steve Scott. Forgot to check him out, but Coach wants to talk about Bill Cosby. Coach says they're whacking the Bill Cosby. They gotta be, right? So as far as, and then look right there, Cosby showing off the air 92. So 2026, that's a flip. You flip the 9 upside down, flip the 2 and the 6, you're good to go. So I think America's Dad's going down. Let's see. I thought it was interesting. Judy was the name of the woman that made the allegation. So that's like the Judy Garland stuff that keeps coming up. Let's see. So just last year, Maxey only played 52 games. That's a flip for us. Coach gonna do a wrap. I changed mine. Let's see. Harden going viral with the loyalty is overrated. I think that's hilarious. We think it's a nod to Embiid, who's probably the most loyal player in the NBA right now. He's been with the Sixers through this big giant rebuild. Like which superstar player would be putting up with all that, right? Like I think Embiid's like low key humble. And then so do I have the video of this? They tell us a 400-pound inflatable prop boulder broke free during the Indiana Jones
Look at the
Disney
shocking video here. Look at this out of Disney World. Oof, wait for it. Ouch. A worker.
It's a freaking joke. Like, there's no way anybody believes this shit, right? NBA has a tanking epidemic right on cue. Coach has a book by the Sixers called Tanking to the Top. I'm going to have to read that one cover to cover for sure. So tanking epidemic, the NBA has been fining teams even that have won games for tanking, saying that they're not trying hard enough to win. So that's nice. We definitely want overreacting. So, if you didn't see the video about our All-Star recap, we got Edgecombe winning the Rising Stars MVP. We love that. Maxey's team won all 3 games, won the All-Star game. Those are the big ones for us. And an Anthony won. Carl Anthony Towns' Knicks, they won. Let's see. What do we want to talk about? Coach hasn't looked these over in a while. We got a lot more to talk about, so I don't have to talk about every little thing. So I think it's funny, my boy Malik Willis. So we had him on the docket, of course, because he's the flip of Hendon Hooker. Still not quite sure what's going on there. But he had very comparable numbers to Shedeur Sanders, who, of course, made the Pro Bowl in his rookie year as a sub. So let's see here. Yeah, the Knicks beat the Sixers by 49. I think that's interesting. The 49ers hosted the Super Bowl. They're like the only other team that's numbers, that's of the big 4 sports that I can think of. So Matt McClung, Sixer, who won the dunk contest 3 times in a row, he set out this year. Look at that horrible handle. I mean, good Lord, that's a carry all day. No matter what he does from there, it's just not going to, there's no way he's doing anything smart with the ball. So he's not a very good ball player, but he is a good dunker. I guess they're going to do the white man can't jump thing, or they already did and Coach missed it. I'll have to look into that. But I like that his middle name's Ford. We know, we like that he's a Sixer. We've got the Sixers winning it. We really like that he went to school for the Hoyas. So spoiler alert, coaches Hoyas are like terrible. Coach just decided to jump on the bandwagon, and they're like completely mid, right? This is a really ballsy take, but I'm just sold that they're like doing something with the Hoyas. I did have another one. Obviously, I think they're going against Kansas. I did have another one. It's like, well, maybe it's this instead. But there's a lot of Hoyas heat. Coach read Iverson's Iverson's memoir, narrated by Iverson. So, a lot more Georgetown connections than what I ever realized. So, they're definitely high on the list. I don't care that they're doing shitty. They're not that bad. I'm overreacting. You can always as long as you're like in the conversation, you can always win your conference tournament, get in the tournament, and they've only won one ever. So this isn't like some powerhouse. It's been a long time. It was like in the 80s, I think 84. So I don't even really have any numbers for them to do it. They just keep coming up, and you'll see. Once we go through this, so who was this? McClung, right? So, he was a Sixer, like I said, won the G League championship. Isn't it weird? He learned to snowboard with Greg Irvin, right? He plays for Julius Irvin's team, of course, right? Of course, Julius Irvin and Irvin Johnson rivalry. Let's see. Of course, he broke a single-season scoring record held by Iverson. He also broke a record by J.J. Redick. Those are both Sixers, of course. He's a Virginia guy like Iverson. Dude, check this out. The other Kenny Powers. You think it's a coincidence that Kenny Powers, American Stuntman, died the year Eastbound and Down hit the air? No joke, dude. 2009. Right? So, Kenny Marion Powers. All right, and then there's Eastbound and Down. I'll get the year for you so you can believe me, but I'm seeing if there's anything else I missed. So, 2009. June 6. Mitch Wild Thing. So, it's based off of Wild Thing. Isn't that really something? So we think Kenny Powers, Danny McBride plays the role of Patrick Mahomes. Here's Mitch Stephen Williams. So yeah, that definitely makes me think, who is that very first guy we were talking about? I said was going to go down in this episode. His brother Steven. Watch out for Steve. I'm not too worried about the other one. I think it's going to be Steven that goes down. Or you know what? I'll bet Steve. Oh no, it's Stewie. Never mind. Check what I said before. That's still good. But I was gonna add something else. I'm retracting it immediately before I say it. So, let's see here. Mitch Williams. 192. That's a 26 flip. So he gave up a run to Joe Carter of the Blue Jays. And oh man, I can't miss this one. This was like the big one I had lined up before I did an episode that I scratched because it got interrupted. Let's see. So Rick Wild Thing Vaughn by Sheen. What was it again? Joe Carter to the Blue Jays. We just had Carter come up. Comes up over and over again, of course. So Roger Angel. Makes coach think of his Angels. We got 67 strikeouts. Carmelo Martinez. Isn't that odd? A lot of this earlier stuff here is real fuzzy. I had this stuff like a week ago. So Carmelo Martinez Salgado. So his real last name Salgado. This would be his 66 year. Retired in 92. That's a 26 flip. Hit a home run his very first major league at bat for the Cubs. You know what coach says. That's usually not good for a guy. It could go either way. But like in that novel, remember that one guy was like horrible forever and then became the best player ever. So it could go either way. So Eminem Boys makes coach, of course, think of Marshall Mathers. Angelo Cataldi. So we got another Angel connection there. Wonder where he's at now, if he's still in Philly. Yeah, isn't that wild? Kenny Powers died in Hampton. That's where Iverson's from. Best known today for his unsuccessful attempt to jump the St. Lawrence River in a rocket-powered Lincoln Continental, right? So the Eagles with Lincoln Financial Field. Ken Carter, he took the place of stuntman Ken Carter, right? So the other Kenny Powers, right? Wild Thing gives a home run to Joe Carter, right? And then our boy here takes the place of Ken Carter. It is like 9:30 in the morning, so give Coach some slack. We're getting to it early. Now, let's see. Oh, Pete Clay Carroll. Just trying to make sure I didn't jump. There's a lot of weird connections, like the one you just saw in this one, so I want to make sure I'm not skipping ahead, but I think we're just going straight into this one. So we're looking at Pete Carroll, right? So, of course, Seahawks won the Super Bowl. Carroll, I believe, got fired by a different team like the Raiders. It made Coach think of John Carroll O'Connor, right? We had Rob Reiner, Meathead, die. And then, so March 6th birthday, it's 666. A true 78. For whatever that's worth. So John Edward Prine. Man. I definitely remember having a lot of good connections here. So Maywood. Oh yeah, Clay. So there's something to do with Clay. So I know he does the clay pigeons. Is what made me get onto him. Angel from Montgomery, I thought was interesting. It made me think we're on to something because it's a twofer. We got the Angels and then Montgomery. That's like David Montgomery on our Lions. Also, with the Lions, there's Sonic and Knuckles. We had the Sonic movie come back. Those are good for the Supersonics. Sorry, Coach isn't knocking this one out of the park. I kind of got excited about the Supersonics thing, and a lot of this flew out of my brain. But I thought it was interesting that you got the Who Bomb Judy Bari, right? So that's like Judy for our Judy Garland. I got some really good Judy Garland stuff near the end. So let's see. Broken Bridges, of course, we think Jeff Bridges is the Lions coach. Coach thinks there's a weird McDonald's connection, right, with like Donald Trump and this Super Bowl. Donald Trump and McDonald's in this Super Bowl and like all the stuff that's going on, right? It seems like all the mascots are getting represented. So I was thinking like Drake May is Mayor McCheese, and Robert Kraft. They've been telling you that everything's about food with football. So I just thought that was weird. And then like McDonald was the coach that beat them, and that could be like mac and cheese. Like Kraft mac and I don't know. It's just I was getting weirded out. So there's that. So let's see, Trump. Right, of course we have Ronaldo winning. This is weird. All right, so Ronaldo's had 3 kids via surrogate, and Kat mentioned the Cristiano versus Messiah thing. So, is this like some immaculate conception thing? But it gets weirder, right? So 3 by immaculate, or 3 by 3 by surrogate, and he's had 6 total. I'm pretty sure. So that's 666 here, throwing up peace signs. The other 2 mothers of his children remain a mystery. I like that his kid's name is his oldest one's Cristianino, or Little Cristiano. He's going to be a beast. But it gets wild here, y'all. grieving father, his youngest one, died. He says, "You are our angel." So it's after he passed 666 million followers. That surrogacy comes with exorbitant price tag. Of course, he did it somewhere like it's illegal, too. I love that the fertility expert is Dr. Joel Batsofin. Right, so it makes you think of course, Joel Embiid, told the Post Malone. What's going on here? Oh, yeah, so some Anthony won gold. That's cool. The Thunder, what people thought the Sixers process was. So I think that's a brilliant insight, right? So it's Bill Simmons, so it's controlled, or maybe someone's just posting there. But Grantland, that's pretty close to Garland. That's his thing, right? But it's funny. So the Thunder, they get a rapid rebuild. It pays off right away, right? And they're just some expansion team. They didn't have to pay some long curse or anything like that. They just get over like right away. But they seemingly did everything the right way, right? Oklahoma did everything right to win a team over. I won't say did everything the right way because they screwed over Seattle, right? But as far as like Oklahoma's role in it, I don't fault that city. I no longer hate that there's a team there if they get the Sonics back. It's definitely wouldn't be one of my choices. Right, but I can deal with having Oklahoma City, if we get the Sonics in like Vegas or something, that'd be cool. So Coach was looking up the process. Check this out. The Process Church of the Final Judgment, a religious group that flourished in the 60s and 70s. Let me guess, 67 to 76. It's established in 66, so close, right? And then 62, that's a flip of 26. Isn't that weird? I don't want to get all into this. There's a Sanders, though. There's a Terry. That's stuff that seems interesting. We'll get back into Sugar Ray Robinson. So it's weird they got a sports thing, right? And it's got something to do with Scientology. L. Ron Hubbard. Don't forget Zachary Hubbard tells you about Gematria. He's the Scientologist of rig sports for sure. There's no doubt that's basically what that is. It's just some weird cult. Okay, so let's see. Coach isn't a cult, he's just stupid. He just gets way too obsessive and is either extremely lucky or happens to be there. I mean, you gotta admit, like, even like Coach, I think Coach's big fault is like he's too hard on him when he gets like the tiniest thing wrong. Like even when I'm like beating myself up, we still had one of the teams in the championship like every single time. Like we're pretty hot. It's never like we're never doing some dumb shit like National Sports Entertainment. Like, hey, I think it's the Bills and the Niners. We're like, oh no, I think it's the Rams and the Patriots. Oh, close. Oh, I think it's the Skins and the Chiefs. Oh, close. Right? NFC Championship loss. NFC Championship loss. Like we've got back-to-back AFC Championship wins, back-to-back NFC Championship losses, right? And then of those two, we picked the winning team in the Super Bowl one of the two times. All right, so, and then before that, we said it was Dolphins or Chiefs over the Niners. So once again, before that, it was NFC Championship with, I guess you would call it, not a loss, but just a split, right? We knew after the wild card, when the Chiefs won, they were going to do it. So it's just we favored the Dolphins, so it kind of feels the same as the other two losses, if you want to call it that. But then, of course, we crushed college football last year. This year, pretty much same thing as pro football. We get Miami all the way in the championship. Oregon loses in what would be the equivalent of the AFC/NFC championship to the team Coach made a big deal about last year, saying fire up the bandwagon, we're going to take them to win it, and then Coach just didn't. I don't know what the hell the problem is. So, but I'm not worried about that. We're going to get this Sixers shit. I feel great about the World Cup. College basketball, Georgetown and Kansas, like I can sleep on that. Like, it's not like something that it's like I said, Georgetown's not like red hot or anything like that, but they're at least teams like I can trust enough. It's not like some ridiculous, and we'll get to my reasons. So sorry for rambling. Let's see. So Malcolm, of course, had Malcolm come up a lot. Malcolm in the Middle coming back. Rocky Mountain News. So Coach thinking of Tony Roten, right? So there's an Anthony for us. So he was the guy that coined the process. He made up the term for it. So don't forget, Nerlens Noel got traded to New Orleans, right? So Nerlens to Narlands. All right, so that's obviously a joke. Let's see. Michael Carter Williams, Jalen Carter is on the Eagles. They also had Jalen Hurts, of course. Our boy Carter Bryant had a perfect 50 in the dunk contest and found a way to lose. It's coach's luck. So let's see. Didn't have a ton of money on it, obviously. It's like a 50-cent bet. Anthony Leon. It's his 25th pick. That could be like a 25. I like that, right? So you never know like who to, because there's there's so many different guys they draft, right? But if it's the guy that comes up with the term process and he's drafted 25th, then you got him winning the 25 championship. That's got to feel pretty good. And he's born in Seattle. I mean, come on, Thunder just won. Coach Tunney's Supersonics should come back. So I thought it was really weird, right? So Andrew Bynum injures his knee at a bowling alley, right? That was his career-ending injury for the Sixers, and right, Iverson got arrested at a bowling alley. That's how his career got derailed, because of the brawl, and they said there was like chairs being thrown. Of course, there's like no footage of it, right? Don't forget, process Sixers, boom, 26 game losing streak. Do you like that? There's a fucking wiki on it. I should have clicked that. I don't know what the hell's wrong with Coach. Right? You know what? We're doing it. Oh, come on. I probably should have looked at who else was on there, though. They might be good for it, too. March 29, that's a 26 flip. Okay. Not bad. Come on. So Coach thought it was weird. You see that Playing Skills album? There was also something to do with Kid and Play. So I thought that was interesting. Oh, what the hell? Okay. Pistons and Sixers are tied for longest ever, losing 28. Sixers and Cavs both have a 26. So yeah, that's pretty nice. We'll leave that one. Catch a close out this stuff. Oh yeah, so Sixers traded Danny Green. Gosh, there's a bunch of greens. I'm gonna lose it. Oh my gosh. Let me circle back. Right, so DeAnthony Melton, we like that. Right, of course, it's like Carmelo Anthony. And, gosh, what was the Danny Green one? That's going to make me mad. I had like 3 green connections on him that were all Sixers. But hopefully they'll come back to me. Isn't it weird? So VJ Edgecombe, his middle name is Drexel, which is a private university in Philly. Right, of course, we draft him 3rd overall, right? What a coincidence. Notable alumni, Chuck Barris. This is the team of Bubba Chuck Iverson and Chuck Barkley, who was teammates with Chuck. And, of course, Irvin's Chuck Taylor's. So Chuck Barris, 29, born. That's a 26 flip. This is the Confessions of a Dangerous Mind guy, right? The game show. And what do you know? The Gong Show, 1976. Not bad, right? He's from Philly. Years active, 62, 26 flip. That feels real good. George Clooney. Here's our Paul George. Charlie Kaufman. I guess could that be a Chuck? Where does Chuck come from? Yeah, Charles, I guess. So Sam Rockwell gives us our rock. June 3rd, that's a 666. Ford sponsorship. Gene Autry, who owns the Angels. Or did. I don't know if he's dead now. I can't remember. But that's very interesting, right? Paul Novak. Remember, it's George Clooney. There's Paul George. I know I'm missing a lot of good stuff. Edith, though, isn't that weird? His mom's name's Edith. We're just talking about All in the Family. Come on. What the hell's going on? Okay, so Drexel Dragons or whatever. Just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing something there. I got him making the round of 32 this year. Why not? Dude, Iverson's coach was Dennis Kozlowski. It was hard as hell to figure out who the hell he was talking about because he always just referred to him as Cos. But I was able to track it down. And I was like, oh, yeah, because we got, Cosby going down. He's a Philly guy. Iverson was obsessed with Martin. So I might have went down that rabbit hole. If not, we should. He used to watch Martin during, I don't know if it was pregame. Yeah, pregame, I think. Let's see. He probably is Martin Lawrence, almost certainly. I forget which boxer we had as Martin Lawrence. I'm thinking Sugar Ray Leonard. $167. $79 right now, which is 76 flip. Los Angeles, that's like Angel. "25 years as head football coach. Coach of the year in 76. Like, come on, dude. Oh, and the team that Iverson played for, they hadn't made it back to the playoffs since they won the state championship in 76. And they go on to win in 92, which is 26 foot force. Iverson's obsessed with Michael Jackson. He had a teammate named Mike Jackson as well, who was nicknamed Thriller, I think. Let's see. Yeah, so we did look at Martin Lawrence. So that gives us Fitzgerald. So Lawrence Julius Taylor. Don't forget LT's sack record just got broken. Of course, Julius Irving is Dr. J. He's 67. 67. Let's see, Martin aired 92. That's a flip, a 26. I feel like that's a clue. That's something like Coach just had in his memory bank from like decades ago, too, about the Martin thing. So I always thought that was hilarious. It's like thinking like Coach is watching film on a portable DVD player and like this motherfucker's watching Martin. Okay. So. Do the right thing. I don't know what I had with a lot of this. Like I said, it's his old. But yeah, Will Smith, in Bad Boys. So you get the Fresh Prince. So Coach was thinking of Bernie Mac, which felt weird at first because I was like, he's a Cubs guy. But I was like, let's just go with it. So it was like Bernie Mac, like Bernie MacDonald. Might as well. So at first I was like, oh, and I was like, oh, this all the way down to the spouse. I was like, nothing. I was like, Rhonda Gore, though. Gore, the baseball player, just died, and he was Mr. 3000. So I was like, that doesn't seem like a coincidence. And it's like, okay, he's influenced by the Three Stooges. I've been wondering if there's some Three Stooges thing, because all the Mo's that keep coming up. And, Red Fox, we've got Jamie Foxx, who is Willie Beeman. Let's see. Mo Money, right there. Isn't that weird? So Three Stooges and then Mo right there. He was actually a White Sox fan. I don't know why. So no wonder he cursed the Cubs. That's hilarious. So check it out, John Garland. Right? So John Garland was on a show. Steven is even weirder, right? It's John Steven Garland. Played for the Angels. Just keeps getting weirder. 79 birthday at 76 flip. Had a contract with the Indians. Had a contract with the Mariners. That's the other thing. The Mariners were right there. Right? They didn't lose the World Series, but they were right there. They could have been. They could have been in the World Series. And then the Seahawks winning. And the Thunder, I think it's just enough. Honestly, 76 to 79 miles per hour. 1.31, that's a palindrome. So, Bernie was in Charlie's Angels. So I was like, okay, let's look into that. So first, Iverson with the Hoyas. There was some sort of joke there. Can't see it. But Mutombo, who he teamed up with for his finals run. Georgetown guy. Have you ever seen how long his actual name is? Dikembe Mutombo, Palando, Makamba, Jean, Jacques, Wamatombo. Better known as Mount Mutombo. So let's see, he passed not too long ago, right? Yeah. Yeah, so he died. Dude, that's just like last year. So, that looks good. Although, man, it really makes me worry, like, are they just doing Sixers Nuggets? Are we not getting the Clippers things? I have a billion reasons for them to do the Clippers too. But, why not get over, like, I feel like Embiid's got beef with Kawhi and Jokic, for sure. But, maybe it's one of those things where they just go straight to the Nuggets. So let's see, Mourning from the Chesapeake, Hampton Roads area, like Iverson, also went to Georgetown. He was known as a big man school before Iverson went there. He's drafted by the Hornets, the Hornets guy gives us a 6'7" meme. That could honestly be like the Hornets' whole purpose. Was just to be a clue for, that it's the Sixers. They don't even have to play us. I think they probably will, but I don't think they have to make it that obvious. So, John Thompson died, Iverson's coach, in his 79th year. Right, he was just days. Look at that, 3 days before his 79th birthday, which would have been a 76 flip. So he made it 79 calendar years for us. That's good. Drafted by the Celtics, huh? St. Anthony. We like that. Keep an eye on them. Carroll. It's like Pete Carroll. Monk Malloy. That's like Todd Monken. So Monk Malloy is just Edward. It's just Eddie. For some reason, he's Monk. So I have to say, yes, he was preceded by Theodore, so Eddie, then Teddy. And let's see, Charlie Crist. Let's see, Cristiano. So Iverson had a series come out about him. I'll have to watch this. I just read his book, like I said, but I'll have to watch this. I forgot. To check this one out. He went up against Glass in the championship game. M. Night Shyamalan is from Philly. He has a movie called Glass. This is his newest one. 2 hours, 9 minutes. That's a 26 flip. 2019 could be a 26 flip. Anderson Fieldhouse. So Iverson won a championship here. So Fieldhouse made me think of Allen Fieldhouse, where the Jayhawks play. That's who we have winning at Jayhawks, like Seahawks. Lawrence, Kansas, like Lawrence, Taylor, and Embiid went here. They won at 52. That's a flip of this year, or this season, 2025. Fogg, Allen. Haven't made any connections to the Fogg thing. Still, well, I guess the Eagles played in the Fogg Bowl. They won last year. 2.5 million. It's 25. We like that a lot. Charles Marshall. That's a two for. It's like Charles Marshall Mathers and like a Chuck. Elton John played there. Coach has him going down this year. James Taylor. Lawrence, Kansas. Lawrence Taylor. Of course, Kansas played there. Let's see. Through February 9th, 2026, so 2-9, that's a 26. Construction began in 52. It's a flip of this year, or this season. $15,200 could be a 25. Lawrence Banker. Let's see. Skipper and Odd are his sons. I thought that was weird. So keep an eye out for Odd. Dude, Wilt Chamberlain went to Kansas. Get the hell out of here. So that's got to be good for us. Kirk Heinrich, Charlie Kirk thing just happened. Dude, Wilt's middle name is Norman. What the fuck? Isn't that crazy? Coach has been saying we need to look out for Normans because Norm died. He's from Philly. Let's see. He started playing in 52. That's a 25 for us. 1 in 67 for 76ers. Goliath. They were calling... Was it the Seahawks Goliath? It was something weird like that. The Big Dipper. So Coach was thinking of the comedy Swingers because they make it a point to say Anaheim. Really weird. Like put it down like it's not in LA. And then they also have the Wizard of Oz. She dresses literally like Dorothy. And he makes the corny, we're not in Kansas anymore. It's like, what the hell's going on there? All right, so there's Bynum going down there. High spot lanes. February 14th, so on Valentine's Day is when he got into a brawl. So lanes, right? So bowling lanes like Lane Thomas. We've got the curse, Frank Lane and Bobby Lane. So Georgetown, I guess they're not doing that bad. They're 13-11. $1907, that could be a 76 for us. Yeah, see, they only won that one in 84. I don't have a good reason for it to flip now, but their first game was on February 9th, so this could be a 26. John Thompson era. Maybe they're good for it next year. That 72 is pretty odd. But I'm still going for it this year. I thought this was interesting, right? Georgetown star Sleepy Floyd, the current president, called his opponent Sleepy Biden, right? Sleepy Joe Biden. And so Sleepy Floyd, March 6th, another 666 show. There's only 2 of them in the fucking year. There's been like 10 in this one little segment. Not really, I'm exaggerating, of course. 172, that could also be a 27 flip. I'm not liking the way this is going for Georgetown. Maybe they went back to back. But I'm thinking maybe I'm just a year ahead. Check this out, though. Pete Carroll? What? Come on. Died at 92. 26 flip in Philly, baby. Isn't that weird? Tell me it's not weird. You're lying. You weren't seeing that one coming. So Coach was thinking like Switzerland, Barry Switzer. I don't know. Just keep an eye out. Right? So Steve Clifford. There's Cliff again. Let's see. And then 2 Hoyas were selected in the 2025 draft. The Thunder took one. And then the other one went with Nerlens Noel to Orleans. Let's see. Oh, first time since 08. That's not that long. Teammates are drafted in the same draft. That's not that exciting. Let's see. So Iverson and Ewing, the only 2 number 1 picks. Warning was number 2 in 92, though. That's nice. James L. Jones. So these are all Georgetown guys. So Reggie Williams, you know, we had Reggie Miller's team in the finals last year. There's Michael Jackson for you. Let's see. Dutch. Coach told you keep an eye out for Dutch stuff. Merlin Wilson, right? Russell Wilson's team just won the finals. This is why, man. Look at this roster. You're telling me I can't go with this team? So Jaden Fort. I mean, it's not great, but Fortnite's like the biggest game in the world. Deshaun Harris-Smith. Well, we have Deshaun Watson / Deshaun Jackson, Judy Garland, Jerry Judy's team going there, right? So Malik Mack. That's just a solid name anyways. It's also an Eminem, but Khalil Mack is a linebacker for the Browns. Vince, that could be like Vince Papale, you know, the Eagles won last year. Caleb Williams, that's not my favorite, not going to lie. Could do without that one. KJ Lewis, Isaiah Abraham, I mean, that's just hard. He's 6'7", too. Gabriel Landera, he's from Brazil. Julius, come on. Julius, whatever the fuck his last name. Austin Montgomery, right? Langston Love, and then, dude, Seal, fucking Seal. They got a dude named Seal. That makes me think the Sharks are good for it, too. Like, come on. Fucking Seal. Some crazy. Oh, dude, and then Mason Moses? Come on. What does Coach got to do? Michael Van Raphorst, that makes Coach think of Michael Rappaport, who's like a Knicks fan. And of course, we're going against the Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals, Coach thinks. Ed Cooley. Brian Blaney, we think Ryan Blaney's probably good for it. I mean, come on. It's just George. I mean, what am I supposed to do here? If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. They're probably going to let me down. I'll be honest. I'm not feeling great about them, but I can't not take them after seeing that roster. So, like Puerto Rico, Bad Bunny, Portugal. So we got Otto Porter. I was wondering what's going on with him. I was like, that's weird because there's no way he's with the Sixers, and that makes me nervous. Well, played for fucking Georgetown. Of course he did. What else would he do? Everybody played for Georgetown. It's the biggest school in the world. So let's see. It makes me feel a lot better about the Nationals, too. But probably not. Just keeping that one real as well. It's hard. It's, so some of my picks, it's harder to believe in than others. And, the Nationals are definitely way down there. So, James Michael Scott. So, Mike Scott, he could have just gone by Jimmy Scott, like Jimmy Butler or James Harden. But Instead, he's got to go by Mike Scott. So you're like, oh, the guy from The Office? No, some weird tatted up guy that punches Redskins fans in the face, even though the owner of his basketball team owns the Redskins. So that's what we're dealing with there. So February 6th, it's 26th, he got traded for the curse that is Tobias Harris to Josh Harris's team. Boban. He was in Hustle. Wilson Chandler. So Russell Wilson Chandler. Mike Muscala. So Mike Scott got traded for Mike Muscala. And then he signed Puerto Rico. Come on. He's also from Virginia. Faced a possible 25-year prison sentence. So David Blaine, 52 years old, flip a 25. What do you know? It makes me think we're good. Take Ryan Blaney. Good Lord. This shit's so stupid. 326 million views. 26-year-old magician outdid Harry Houdini, who died in 1926. Do you think they like magic? Over here, Coach has a big David Blaine book. We're going to have to read that one, too. Now that we know he's hot for it. I'll bet he just had something awesome happen last year and we missed it, but it's going to be even better this year. It was like a lead up to let you know, like, oh, no, we're really doing it. McDonald's hamburger was fucking flown up to the box. What the hell? As a taunt? It wasn't even practical. Just like, hey, here's a hamburger. We're going to get a remote control helicopter. Because of all the things you're going to wish you had, nothing would hit harder than a McDonald's hamburger. Not even a cheeseburger. Not even a Big Mac. Just give them a hamburger. Ketchup. Elaborate illusion, yeah. Let's see. 25% of his original body weight. That's cool. 52 hours later. There's a lot of 25s and 26s with this guy, I'm just saying. We're definitely reading that book. There's a Peter. Switzerland. But, like, Switzerland's one of those that just comes up a lot because it's just, like, obviously some weird psyop. Like, I don't think you live there unless you're in the club. Like, at all. I don't think it's, like, an organic place. Like, they just took it over. I can't even explain. It's too weird. So, let's see. 52 helium-filled balloons. I mean, what is going on? 7.6 kilometers. 2025, he got a series with Disney and Hulu. I told you he's going to have something big last year. Do not attempt. He trains under an array of people with death-defying skills and performs several feats around the world. Okay. Mysterious Stranger, Book of Magic. I don't think that's the one I have. Cliff Johnson? Why is there a Cliff? Like, is that the same 52 hours? Hold on. I wonder if they're referencing it the same thing twice. That's definitely a different time listing, the 52 hours thing. Dude, and just like Cosby and everybody on the Browns ever, don't forget Justin Tucker's coming to the Browns for sure. But, you know, your boy Blaine here did the bad thing with the ladies. They just can't figure it out. Also had something to do with Chelsea, and I told you Chelsea killed it last year in soccer. David Blaine sets himself on fire, eats nails. Oh, that's his new series. Sorry, I spoiled that for you. Apparently he had some sort of Super Bowl thing. Dude, Chloe Kim and Myles Garrett. Chloe Kim. Like Kim and Khloe Kardashian. 25 years old. That's pretty. So she's going to turn 26 this year, I guarantee her, right? Yep, she's about to turn 26. Wins the 26 gold. Movies. Charlie's fucking Angels. What do you want me to say? Khloe Kardashian. Alexandra. There's your Alexander, Coach told you. That's what we're looking for. Noel. Nerlens Noel. All right. Chris Humphries. So, of course, Kim who gets famous for a sex tape, marries someone whose last name starts with Hump, right? And his first name is Chris, like her mom, Kris Jenner. Okay. So then, of course, you got Lamar. We had Kendrick Lamar do the halftime show last year. Of course, Lamar Jackson. Let's see. Teammates with Elton Brand. Elton's the president of the Sixers. And played for the Clippers. Majority of his career. And then it gives you the Kobe thing. So James Butler. Oh, shit, dude. Dude, Jimmy Butler's just Caron Butler. He's just tough juice. Of course he is. How did I not figure that out? Holy shit. That makes so much sense. So if you didn't know, this guy's like the only guy in history. But I mean, I don't know exactly how it works out. Because, of course, like, Iverson was locked up and stuff, too. But this dude, like, is the only one that's known to have done, like, real hard time for, like, a long time. Like, maybe he's the only guy that's, like, served out his whole sentence without some sort of pardon. You know what I mean? But, like, he was legit doing time. And, you know, I say legit, like, it's part of the story, right? I'm just telling you, like, it's obviously a joke. But they tell you he did real time. And, look, traded for Chucky Atkins. Or with Chucky Atkins. There's a Chuck for us. So, Kenneth LaVaughn. I can't believe I didn't make that Jimmy Butler connection until just now. So he's turning 52. Chucky Atkins is. For the 2025 season. That's nice, just in time. Any later, it wouldn't be as obvious. Played for the Thunder. Traded with Gary Payton, of course. Supersonic. George Butler. Georgetown. So George played for Georgetown here. And, of course, Paul George plays for the Sixers. Iverson changed Villanova home games forever. I don't know what that was about. So, Convict U, right? When Iverson was there, they called it Convict U. Don't forget Miami Catholics versus Convicts. They were just in the championship. Now, we could be losing. Could be Kansas beating Georgetown, you know. So, Iverson with Felipe Lopez, Puerto Rican, you know, they were supposed to be on this big cover together. Didn't work out. He's turning 52 this year, like everybody else. Averaged 2.5 points per game. St. John's, there's someone to look in that, like, a Philly team, too. So, like, I mean, keep an eye out for them. The Storm, I mean, the Thunder one, it could be something there. 252 assists, so 25 both ways. Rice High School, like Jerry Rice eating rice. The Niners just hosted the Super Bowl. Jackie Joyner, Kersey, that makes you think of Curse, like Javon Curse. And let's see, Jim Brown. So, of course, Javon Curse, it's like the word curse, but they spell it different, so you don't think of it. So Iverson and Jim Brown being mentioned that close together, we definitely like. Chris Mullin, Coach told you about the Chris Mullin, Rodney Mullen thing. He was picked with the Blue Jays. Felipe Lopez picked for the Blue Jays. They were just in the World Series. Like, what the hell, right? AI is bringing back Val Kilmer for another film. So, Coach thought it was, you know, of course they're always making jokes, but so the Marx Brothers, right, the comedy group, well, one of the Marx Brothers is named Adolf, right, which if you don't know is funny because Karl Marx wrote the Communist Manifesto. He's like the father of socialism. And then Adolf Hitler, of course, not his best friend. No, and isn't that weird? Preceded by Anton Drexler. So Charlie Chaplin, Chuck Chaplin here. Bobby Portis was just in the 3-point competition. I'm a little confused what his role is in all this. The Razorbacks are coming up a lot. I'm wondering what's going on with Arkansas. It's also like Arkansas, right? So maybe it's Georgetown and Arkansas. It's a big dupe. I don't think so. I'm sticking with Georgetown, Kansas, but I'm just saying it could be something weird like that. Set his career high against the Sixers. I don't want to spend too much time on Bobby Portis, actually. I don't really care. But they do have a patch on the Cavs that's Cliffs. I thought that was interesting. $6.66 billion equity. Out of Warren, Ohio, 2.6 million tons is what they mine. William Mather. It's like a Mather, son of Samuel. Man, I had some lines, Browns connections I thought of that were just like off the fucking chain. Like, oh my God, there's no way they're not about to do this. I'm hoping they pop back in my head, or I took some screenshots. Let's see. So this dude's there's a Mather from Cleveland who's a big deal. So Anthony Anderson was just in the All-Star game, known as Andre. Isn't that weird? So that just came up again. Andre. Let's see anything else there. Big Mama's House sits with Martin Lawrence. Little Rock, Arkansas again. Malcolm and Eddie. Liberty Heights, I think they just brought that back. Adam Glass. New 52. It's a 25 flip. Anthony Anderson apparently had the bad thing with the 25-year-old, that he's just going to have a career like it's cool. All about the Andersons. Sharon Osbourne connection. So as far as like the All in the Family connection, so he was in the Proud Family, but was also in We Are Family. And Lopez versus Lopez, that keeps coming up, and there's a Todd Cheeks there. That definitely makes me think there's something going on with George Lopez now. And let's see, got Bernie Mac, Charlie's Angels. So 76, what do you know? That's not bad, right? So Farrah Fawcett, get it? Faucet, like a hose or like a, like a spigot or something. You're supposed to think of her wet. So, or him. Let's see, David Doyle. They're awful looking. I can't believe these are sex symbols. What the fuck? They're horrible. I wouldn't touch none of them. And what do you know? Fourth in the ratings behind All in the Family. Is it Kirkland? So, they had the two movies in the early 2000s. What was the 2019 Charlie's Angels then? I guess I forgot to look into that one. Isn't it weird there's a Goff, right? Of course, Jared Goff's on the Lions. We got them winning the Super Bowl. Detective agency in LA. Matt LeBlanc, I think he's dead. Green. There's a Green for us. That wasn't. Now I'm thinking of a bunch of them, but too late. I'm not getting into that. Seth Green. In this plane sequence in Charlie's Angels was inspired by the British Bulldog, right? So Georgetown Hoyas. Andre Drummond's on the bench for our Sixers. Movie Deadlier Than the Male, 1967. Very odd. So, it says he owns a Rolls Royce. It makes think of Royce to 5'9". He's a Detroit guy. Saw this Jordan Stolz. The Milwaukee Missile made me think of Jordan Stahl. Elizabeth Lemley, of course, made me think of Liz Lemon. We've got Tracy Morgan playing Philly's mayor. Sorry, I didn't mean to show you that. Let's see. So Iverson played with Jerome Williams. So Ty Jerome won the title with Virginia, Iverson's home state, and was drafted by the Sixers. You've got Marcus Dion Camby. That's like Dion prime time. So the Camby man here, he's turning 52, which I thought was a slam dunk for our fucking Clippers. What do you know? He played for the Nuggets even longer. So I don't know. Backed up veteran all-star. Well, isn't that something? First 2 seasons in New York, he backed up fellow Georgetown alum Patrick Ewing. What are the odds, right? And close friend Latrell Sprewell, the second guy in the NBA behind Iverson to wear braids, cornrows. Let's see. And he played with Melo. Wait, he was involved in the Knicks-Nuggets brawl. I don't remember that one. I'm going to have to look that one up. Jerome Jordan. Andre Bargnani. I should have looked him up. Let's see that one. I know you can hear my chihuahuas. They love playing. Make sure I didn't miss anything there. Not really, I don't think. So curse of Billy Packer. So Packer called Iverson a tough monkey. So I'm wondering if this has something to do with the Sixers curse. Let's see. Do you need a glass of water? Isn't that where your glasses came up? So yeah, he was at like all sorts of classic events. But let's see. Basically, his career got ended because he was there for 25 years on CBS, but his career ended because he said this game is over in the championship, and the other team came back and won, and they instantly fired him. But like he also said a bunch of stupid stuff about women. He's like, well, like women, some woman usher or something asked for his ticket. And he was like, why don't you go work WNBA games or women's college games? Yeah, there's your tough little monkey. So he's dead. That's good for us. His name's Anthony, too. That's hilarious. Hold on. January 26th is when he died. February 25th is when he born. All good things. We like all that. Let's see. Wait, hold on. Oh, his wife died, actually. Okay. So he played till 62. That's a 26 flip, and they were in the 62 Final Four. Clark Kellogg, we've talked about all the cereal stuff. We like that. Bob Knight, let's see. Putt Pro Putters Association. That would be the best gig ever. I would love to be a pro putter. I would say it was such pride. I would sign every autograph ever. 92 Winter Olympics. So 92, that's the Dream Team season. Look for Dream Team stuff. Although it is what are we doing, the Winter Olympics now? That's enough, Waylon. Stop. All right, so let's see. So George Mason, that's the Patriots. Career ended in 62. That's a 26 foot. We like that. Unbreakable record, so autogram with 10 title games. If Tom Brady pops in for us next year, he'll have it because he's been in 10 Super Bowls. That'll give him 11. So they're talking about how the Sixers ducked the tax. Remember, duck's one of our keywords. Waylon! Okay, Cristiano just met Trump late last year. We like that. Campaign coming back to the Sixers. Rumored, at least. Also played for the Thunder. That's good. Father Tony, we like that. It's also funny that he referred to himself as Terry Johnson when we're providing a false report to law enforcement. I think that was a joke. I'm not worried about that. Ray J performs with blood streaming down his eyes. Let's see. Here's Mitch McConnell. You really think that's a person? I mean, come on. It's got to be Dana Carvey. Let's see. We're not going to spend too much time on him. Although he was succeeded by Chuck Schumer and preceded by Todd. So I thought that was interesting. President Gerald Ford. Wifey Lane. Oh, yeah, he blocked Obama's judicial nominee, Merrick Garland. There's another Supreme Court, Anthony. Let's see, where's Garland here? So Merrick Garland, born 52, that's 25 flip. Isn't that weird? And then Shirley Garland, okay, actually, Coach didn't tell you this. So another weird nugget Coach had in his head forever is that Judy Garland wasn't supposed to play Dorothy. She wasn't supposed to be in The Wizard of Oz at all. Okay? Back in the day, they tell you that actors and actresses basically could only work for one studio. Like you signed a contract with that studio to make so many pictures, and however big in favor you were with that studio, that's how much work you'd get, how much they'd publicize you. So it's pretty much that's why like names like MGM and names like Paramount, they meant so much more back then because they had all the power. They even had giant chains of movie theaters where they'd exclusively release their movies too, right? So in this specific case, Shirley Temple was the big draw of the day, of course. And she was supposed to be Dorothy. Garland was seen as too old to be Dorothy. They wanted someone that was more like a child. And it was Shirley Temple's dream to have this role. Well, it wasn't a 1-for-1 trade because Shirley was the bigger talent. Garland was traded basically with a kicker, this other girl, for Shirley, but the other girl died in a plane crash before all the ink was settled or whatever, right? So the deal fell through. Shirley Temple is crushed. Judy Garland gets to make her movie, but, they don't believe in her, blah, blah, blah. So the reason we think that's so interesting is don't forget Embiid's drink of choice is Shirley Temple, right? That's like his big thing. And then right here you got Shirley Garland as a spouse for Merrick Garland. So there's no doubt that that's a Shirley Temple, Judy Garland joke. In my mind, especially when you see, where is it? So I like that he did the Oklahoma City bombing stuff, but we'll get there. So there's an Oliver. We like that too. Hold on. Right here, dude. Come on. Garland also joined the part of Judge Judith Rogers, Judge Judy, Garland and Judy. Come on. Everything's a big fucking joke. We can do our best to try to figure it out. But they say she married Zan Tanner. Old Zanny bar here. Todd Rakita. Here's Zan Tanner. Then I have a wiki about him. So here's your Sonics. I don't have like a lot of numbers screaming they're going to come back, but it is nice that they've got some 67s for them. We got the 76ers winning. The best number I found for them is George Karl being their coach in 92. That's a pretty good clue they could come back this year. Because that's what I'm thinking. It really doesn't make a lot of sense if it's not like right now. So I'm thinking right after this season, Sixers win, the Supersonics come back. It's very obviously a ritual, but like to the average casual viewer, you get that one seemingly random 76ers championship between the Thunder and the Supersonics coming back, so you don't think it's all scripted. But it's even more scripted because of the Sixers, for all the reasons we mentioned. Right, so, of course, Chocolate Thunder, not the least among them. Now, let's see. So right here, Silver says he's talking about March mentioned Seattle. What did he mention? Well, we don't want to tease them. We don't want to tease Seattle. We don't want to tease Vegas, right? So they were on a clickbait article teasing Seattle, right? He didn't think that was going to happen. No, sure. He doesn't know how the media works. So he mentioned them, and that's good enough